Yo, it's HDTheRose! So today, guys, I'm going to be doing a math project deal presentation. Yeah, it's for my math project, and, well, don't judge me, because I don't like being judged by people, even though I'm okay with it. Whatever. First question. What the heck is a cubed root? A cubed root is a number that produces a given number when cubed. Example, the cubed root of 64 is written as 3 cubed, right, the exponent is 3 and the cubed root is 64 and it equals 4. So, yeah. Sorry if I messed that up. Second question. What is an integer? An integer is a whole number and it's not a fraction. For example, -5, 1, +1, +5, +8, +97, and 3043. Third question. What is an irrational number? It is any real number that cannot be expressed as a ratio of integers. It cannot be represented as terminating or repeating decimals. For example, pi, which begins with 3.14, is the most common to be an integer. Or no, to an irrational number, of course. The fourth question. What is it? What is a perfect cube? What is a perfect cube? A perfect cube, it is an integer that has an integer value as a cubed root. For example, 1 cubed, or 1, and then a teeny tiny 1 over there, equals 1. 7 cubed equals 343. Cubed equals 1. 5 cubed equals 125. Fifth question, I think. What is a perfect square? A perfect square is the product of a rational number multiplied by itself. For example, x squared and plus 6x plus 9 minus 7, I think. Nope. Oh, it's a pointy thing. Equals x plus 3 squared, I think. Sorry if I got that wrong, Miss W. Sixth question! What is a radical? An expression that uses a root such as square root or cube root. Cube. What is a radicand? That is the fifth question, of course. A radicand, it's the number under a radical symbol. That's cool. What is a rational number? It's a number that can be written as a rational, can be a fraction. Oh wait, a rational can be a fraction, of course. So, yeah. Like 1 over 1, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 2 over 1, 1 whole, 2/3, 2/4. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ninth question. What is a root? The root of a number, like, for example, x is another number, when multiplied by itself a given number of times. There. For example, the second root of 9 is 3 because 3 times 3 equals 9, of course. 10th question. What is a square root? A square root is a number that produces a specific quantity when multiplied by itself. Wow. For example, 7 is the square root of 49, of course. 11th question. What is a whole number? A number without fraction, also known as an integer. For example, -5, 1, +5, +8, 49, etc. 12th question. What makes a number a perfect square or a perfect cube? For a perfect square, if a variable with an exponent has an even exponent, then it's a perfect square. For example, x8 is a perfect square, or whatever. A perfect cube, if a variable with an exponent that has an exponent which is divisible by 3, then it's a perfect cube. For example, 9 cubed is a perfect cube, of course. How can you use inverse operations to find a perfect square root? Finding the square root is the inverse operation of squaring that number. Example, the square root of n equals n squared. Question number 13, I think. No, it's 14, of course. Duh, my bad. How do you approximate the square root of a non-perfect square? Well, non-perfect squares are in between all perfect squares. 20 cannot make a square without whole numbers, so it's not a perfect square. It must be a decimal or a fraction number. Example, approximate of the square root of 20. 20 lies between 16 and 25. Square root of 16 is 4. And the square root of 20 has to be a little bit more. 20 seems to be the middle of 4 and 5. You multiply 4.4 times 4.4 and get 19.36. Subtract 20 minus 19.36 and you get 0.64, I think. Other ways, 4.5 times 4.5, you get 20.25. Then subtract 20 minus 20.25 and you get 0.25. So 4.5 is the estimate of the these of 20. How do perfect squares and perfect cubes apply to real life events? At the store, you have to estimate how much money that the customer needs to pay and the change that you need to give back, of course. That's a real life event. Or, let me think. Yeah, I think it's just the only money thing to me, because, yeah. What is a fraction? It's a numeral quantity that is not a whole number, of course. What are natural numbers? The positive integers 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 0. What are real numbers? That's what I want to know. What is a real number, of course, but a real number is the number that can be found on a number line. What is a repeating decimal? A repeating decimal is a decimal fraction in which a figure or a group of figures is repeated indefinitely. Example: 0.66666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666666======================================================================================================================〖It's like, well, what's a Tronicate? I don't know what that is. It is rounding to the same decimal place. That's what it is, of course. Duh. 1. You have to find a number you can multiply by the bottom of the fraction to make 10 1 zeros 1 0 0 1 0 0 0 on or any one followed by zeros. Multiply both top and bottom by that number. Write down the top number, putting the decimal in the correct spot. Question number 2, sort of, I think. They are considered rational numbers because they can be represented as a ratio of 2 integers. Cool. Question number 3. Write down the decimal divided by 1 decimal. Okay. Multiply both top and bottom by 10 for every number after the decimal point. Then simplify the fraction. That's how you simplify or whatever. Boy. Rational numbers can be expressed by a ratio. They can be fractions, decimals, or whole numbers. Rational numbers cannot be expressed as a ratio of 2 integers. So pretty much that's the difference of rational and irrational numbers. Radicals are anything with radical signs. They can be a square root, cube root, or any number root. It's a square root unless there is a tiny number. It's a cube root turned inside radical. Something like that. What properties do you use to classify real numbers? It includes both rational and irrational numbers. We have subcategories of integers, whole numbers, and natural numbers. This is for Unit 3, yo! What is the base? I'm all about that base. No trouble. I'm just messing with you guys. The base is the number that is going to be raised to a power. Example, 8 squared. 8 is the base. What is dividing powers with the same base property? It's when one term is divided by another with the same base, subtracting the exponents. What is an exponent? That's what I want to know. An exponent is a quantity representing the power to which a given number or expression is to be raised beside the number or expression. What's an exponential form? It's way more compact way to write something like 5 times 5 times 5. Instead we write like 5. What are the laws of exponents? Wow. It's one of a set of rules in algebra. Exponents of numbers are added when the numbers are multiplied, subtracted when the numbers are divided, and multiplied when raised by still another exponent. Wow. Mind blown. What is the multiplication property of exponents? It's multiplying two quantities with exponents if they have the same base. Wow. What is power? That's what I want to know. Because I want to have power. Power, it's the product of multiplication, a number by itself. What is raising power? 2, a power property. When one power is raised to another, also known as multiplying the exponent. What is raising a product to a power property? It's using the rules of exponents to simplify the denominator, which it's when product is being raised to a power. What is raising a quotient to a power property? It can be done by using the formula for raising a product to a power.